In this section, we're going to review the steps you should follow for a daily walk-around inspection and for daily maintenance of the PM200. A daily walk-around inspection is important because the inspection can help you find potential hazards, worn or damaged parts, and conditions that should be addressed before operating the machine. Notice that the PM200 has been parked on a flat surface free from obstructions and debris. The machine has been lowered so the rotor contacts the ground. That is a normal procedure when parking and leaving a cold planer. You can make a walk-around inspection with the PM200 in this position without starting the engine. Starting at the rear of the machine, look at the tracks on both sides. Check for excessive wear on the undercarriage. Look for leaks around the track drive motors and all the hydraulic hoses for the track drive system and the legs. At the rear of the rotor housing, pay attention to the condition of the mold board. The mold board is a wear item that can be adjusted or replaced. Water spray nozzles are installed at the top of the rotor housing. Be sure they are unobstructed and properly positioned. Continue to look for signs of damage or excessive wear on each side of the PM200. Inspect the condition of the access ladders to the operator station. They have to be securely fastened with no buildup of debris on the steps. The side plates must be in good condition and free to move up and down. Look for any buildup of material around the side plates and check that the cable is not damaged. Check the condition of the anti-slab device and the front of the rotor housing. Look for bent, excessively worn components or accumulation of debris. Make sure there is nothing to interfere with the water spray nozzles located over the conveyor belt. At the front of the machine, look at the conveyor system. All covers should be securely in place. Look for signs of damage to the motors and the lights on the conveyor. Inspect the hydraulic cylinders and the lines on the front of the machine. Again, you're looking for leaks, any sign of damage to the cylinders, or worn hoses. Belts on the upper and lower conveyors must be in good condition. You're looking for a cut or torn belt. The belts should also be tracking straight with the correct tension. Have the conveyor extended and lowered to its maximum. This will enable a thorough inspection of all covers and hoses. Drive motors and working lights will be low enough for a good inspection, and you will be able to examine the conveyor belt for damage and straight tracking. There are working lights and beacons in a number of locations on the PM200. Check to see that the lenses are not broken and that the lights are properly aimed. Keep checking belts for cuts, wear, and for straight tracking. Be sure to walk completely around the machine. Remove any debris and garbage, and report any damage before starting the PM200 or performing daily maintenance. Performing machine maintenance according to the scheduled intervals helps ensure that the PM200 performs to its maximum potential and that the machine delivers the expected service life. The bottom of the discharge conveyor belt is also accessible for inspection. Simply remove the two pins and let the hinged cover drop down. You can check for buildup of debris and belt condition. Continue the walk-around inspection until you have completely covered both sides of the PM200. Remember, you're looking for leaks, damage, and excessive wear, anything that will interfere with the safe and productive operation of the machine. Scheduled maintenance and inspection reduce the possibility of major component failure and more expensive repairs. Study the maintenance section in the Operation and Maintenance Manual carefully and always have the necessary tools and equipment on hand to help you perform maintenance procedures. And now, let's look at the scheduled daily maintenance. We'll start the daily maintenance procedures at the rear of the PM200. The battery compartment can be accessed from ground level. At the left side is the battery disconnect switch. Make sure the key is in the switch and is turned to the on position. There are two batteries. They should be clean and free of corrosion, with cables secure and undamaged. Located on the right side of the battery compartment are two circuit breakers. Reset any circuit breakers that have been tripped. Inspect the backup alarm. It should be totally unobstructed. When the propel lever is moved to the rear, the backup alarm should be clearly audible to ground personnel. Above the battery compartment is the access to the cooling package. First, remove the two bolts that fasten the radiator hood. Then, raise the hood and install the support rod. Now you have access to the hydraulic oil cooler, rotor clutch oil cooler, engine coolant cooler, and turbo aftercooler. Inspect the cooling cores for buildup of debris or trash that would restrict airflow. Note any damage to fins or any leaks. Clean when required with compressed air preferably. Inspect the ground below the cooling package for signs of fluids. To get access to the top of the engine radiator and the access door to the radiator cap, remove the access ladder from the right side of the machine and install the ladder in the holders provided at the rear of the machine. Check the coolant level only when the engine is cool and not running. Remove the cap and check that the engine coolant level is at the bottom of the expansion tank. Inspect the cap and replace it. Next, drain the compressed air tank. This compartment is on the right side of the PM200 at the rear. Remove the bolts and open the access door. There is a drain valve at the bottom of the air tank. Open the drain valve by turning it clockwise until it stops. Allow water in the tank to drain into a container. Be sure to dispose of the water properly. Then close the valve by turning counterclockwise until it stops. There are sight gauges on both sides of the water spray tank. The PM200 should be parked on a level surface to accurately read the water system gauges. The system holds 3,500 liters or 925 gallons and should be filled with clean water at the start of each shift. Here, the red float indicator shows that the water tank is empty. The water spray system access door is on the left side of the machine. There will be up to 3 water spray pumps in the compartment. At the center is the optional dust reduction water spray pump. The dust reduction pump provides additional water flow to the rotor housing and to the conveyor system. The far right pump is the standard water spray pump that supplies flow to the spray bars over the rotor housing and the conveyor. The pump on the left is the optional washdown water spray pump. The washdown pump provides water for the high-pressure washdown system. Check this area for leaks or damage. Directly below the water pump compartment are the water spray system filter and high-pressure water spray system filter. Let's check the condition of the water spray system filter. Close the water system valve by turning it clockwise. Unscrew the cover. There may be water in the filter canister. Let the water drain from the filter. Then remove the filter screen and check the element for clogging. You can clean the filter with water or replace if damaged. Install the cleaned filter element or a new element and replace the cover. Follow the same steps to check the high-pressure water system filter that is just to the right. Again, this element can be cleaned with water to remove built-up debris. Never operate the water spray system without a filter element. Remember to open the water system valves when the inspections have been completed. Add water to the water spray system tank through either the right or left inlet at the top of the tank or through the hose connector on the right side of the machine. Or water can be pumped into the water spray system tank using the optional water loading pump. The water loading pump is located on the right side of the machine and should also be inspected for leaks or damage. To drain the water tank, open the valve on the water inlet connection on the right side of the machine. At this point, we're ready to perform daily maintenance steps on top of the PM200. Use the access ladders provided on both sides of the PM200 to reach the operator's station. Always close the gate at the top of the ladder. Open the access door on the left side of the operator's station. There are two switches inside the access door. The switch on the right controls folding the canopy. The switch on the left controls opening the engine hood. Hold the engine hood switch up. The electronically driven accessory pump provides hydraulic oil flow to the engine hood raise-lower system. The engine does not have to be started to raise or lower the engine hood. Swing up the engine hood support rod and position it so the rod is firmly supporting the engine hood. At the start of every shift, drain the fuel system water separator on the bottom of the fuel filter. Open the drain valve on the bottom of the water separator bowl. Allow the water and fuel to drain into a suitable container. Then close the drain valve securely to prevent air leakage into the fuel system. The fuel system priming pump is located directly above the fuel filter. Unlock the plunger for the priming pump and use the plunger anytime you have to prime the fuel system. Check for fuel leaks around the filter and the priming pump. Remove the engine oil dipstick. Always check engine oil level with the engine stopped. Maintain the oil level within the crosshatched area of the dipstick. If you have to add oil, remove the oil filler cap. The Operation and Maintenance Manual lists the recommended engine oil as well as all other fluids and lubricants for the PM200. Always be sure to wipe clean any filler cap before replacing it. Next, check the level of power takeoff clutch oil. Remove the dipstick, wipe it clean, and then check the oil level. Maintain the oil between the add and full marks on the dipstick. If you have to add oil, use the filler tube next to the dipstick. Check the hydraulic oil level at the start of the shift when the oil is cool. Examine the sight gauge on the side of the hydraulic oil reservoir. Maintain the oil level close to the top mark when the oil is cool. At this time, we're ready to close the engine hood. You may have to raise the engine hood slightly to get enough clearance to swing the support rod back to the storage position. Then, fully lower the engine hood by holding the engine hood switch down to the lower position. Next, inspect the indicators and gauges on the operator's console. There are 4 pressure gauges in the center of the console. There are 2 rows of indicator lights on the left side of the console. Check for broken lenses in the gauges and for broken indicator lights. Turn the engine start switch to the on position and watch the monitoring system display. The display will show an introduction page for 3 seconds and then show the normal operating mode. This is mode 1 for the monitoring system and has indicators for machine speed, engine speed, front track steering, rear track steering, rear track's angle, fuel consumption, fuel temperature, fuel pressure, turbocharger boost pressure, engine oil pressure, air intake temperature, coolant temperature, and alternator charging voltage. Depress button number 2 on the left side of the display twice to move to Mode 2, the simplified mode. In Mode 2, only machine speed, engine speed, fuel temperature, air intake temperature, engine oil pressure, and coolant temperature are shown. Mode 3 is not used on the PM200. Mode 4 is for monitoring the various input and output signals to the electronic control system. Mode 5 is not used. Mode 6 is not used. You can always return to Mode 1 by depressing the Escape key. Mode 7 is used to set the language, the units of measure, and the date and hour format. Finally, Mode 8 is for use by Caterpillar dealer personnel for configuration, diagnosis, and repair. For operational status, you should be in Mode 1 or Mode 2. Probably most of the time, you will select Mode 2, the simplified screen. Now, start the engine. All the gauges should be functional. Indicator lights illuminate when there is a fault within an individual system or when certain switches are activated. All the display indicators should be in the green range to show that systems are within normal working ranges. Test the horn buttons. Horns at the operator station and at the 4 ground level stations must be functional. They are an important part of crew communication. Test the lights. Working lights are located at various places around the PM200. You may want to have a person on the ground verify that all lights are functional. Check the beacon light too. Let the engine warm up at low idle for at least 5 minutes. We'll be raising the PM200 to service height to do rotor inspection, the final step in our daily maintenance routine. After the engine is warmed up, turn the electric circuit's enable switch to the enable position. Move the rear column's manual raise switch to the right to the raise position. This enables the rear of the PM200 to raise an additional 10 centimeters or 4 inches above the standard operating height range. Move the main column control lever to the right to raise all the columns of the PM200 to the service height. Rear leg supports are swung up to the storage position in front of the rear legs. Remove the split pin and the locking pin from one of the supports. Rotate the support down and reinstall the locking pin and split pin to hold the support in the down position. Repeat the procedure for the other rear leg support. Hold down the rear leg height switch to lower both rear legs until the leg supports are supporting the full weight of the machine. Now turn off the engine. Check that all controls and switches at the main operator station are in the off or manual position. Don't leave anything in the automatic mode because you're going to restart the engine from a ground level operator station. Before leaving the operator's platform, turn the engine start switch key to the on position. Move to the left rear ground control panel and turn the key to the on position. Then turn the key to the start position and release it when the engine starts. Starting the engine from this panel enables only a few systems needed for rotor service. Hold up the mold board control switch until the mold board opens completely. The mold board indicator will blink when the mold board is fully raised. Remove the retaining pin from the mold board door support hook. Be sure the mold board door hook is supporting the mold board before entering the rotor housing. Depress the remote engine stop switch to stop the engine and disable machine controls. Finally, toggle the rotor service brake release button located on the left side of the rotor housing. With the rotor service brake released, you can manually rotate the rotor to inspect the rotor bits. Or another operator can rotate the rotor from the left side rotor drive. You are looking for broken bits, unevenly worn bits, and excessively worn bits. To remove a rotor bit, insert the Caterpillar key tool in the side slot of the tool holder. Use a hammer to loosen the rotor bit. Then secure the fork tool around the rotor bit and drive it out. Continue inspecting and replacing bits until all bits are of equal length. In order for the rotor to cut precisely, you have to perform frequent rotor inspections. Rotor tool holders are installed in the mounting blocks welded to the flighting. To remove a tool holder, use a punch and hammer to remove the locking pin from the top of the tool holder. Using the Caterpillar fork tool and a hammer, remove the tool holder from the mounting block. When rotor service is complete, pull out the remote stop switch on the left control panel. Start the engine using the engine start switch on the ground level panel. Raise the rotor service door enough to disengage the moldboard door support, then move the moldboard control switch to the float position and allow the moldboard to close and lower to the ground. Turn the engine switch to the off position. Press the remote stop switch to stop the engine and disable the machine controls. Finally, pull out the remote stop switch to allow the PM200 to return to operation from the operator's station. After the machine has been raised back up to the service height position, remove the lock pins and swing the leg supports up to the storage position. Reinstall the lock pins and secure the supports. This completes the section on daily walkaround and daily maintenance.